I'm excited, really excited to share with you these mediums that are new to me. Derwent did get in touch and asked if there was something that I would like to swatch, and I said, oh, how about the Tinted Charcoal? And so they've sent me a paint pan set and also a pencil set. So the plan is to swatch them. We'll look at them wet, look at them dry, and then I'm going to bring in some of my old favourites of Derwent, and then I'm going to use my sketchbook to just sketch some scenes from a recent walk that I've been on. So I hope you enjoy this session with me. Maybe get your sketchbook out, get your swatching things out and swatch along with me. Hi there, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Mel Chadwick. I'm an artist and illustrator living on the Lizard Peninsula in Cornwall. I love keeping sketchbooks and drawing outdoors with a mix of media. If you like the sound of that, then you may like to check out more of my videos here and on Substack, where I share and document my sketchbook journey through the seasons. A special thank you to Derwent, who has sponsored today's video. Let's jump in. So I've been sent a Tinted Charcoal paint pan set, and it comes in the classic white tin, plastic tin, and inside is the swatches, although you can't really tell from this exactly how they will look, so it's always good to give them a swatch. I also have this little brush which is in two parts. It's got a little stopper there, so you then screw that together like that, although now it doesn't fit in there, so just make sure you don't lose that stopper so that you can separate it. I'll put the lid in. I have actually already swatched these just because I wanted to have a look at what they would be like and how they look, so I realised that they actually use a lot of water, so I'm just going to put a tiny drop on each one just to prepare them. They are very thirsty and they need to drink often, and that makes sense because it is charcoal, and charcoal is burnt very dry. So all of them are charcoal apart from the white, which obviously isn't charcoal. I think it's like a gouache, calcium, is it carbonate? Anyway, that one isn't charcoal. But I'm going to swatch them all, and I'm going to swatch on two different papers. One is this watercolour paper, which was also sent to me by Derwent. It is from this pad, which 300 grams, 140 pounds. It's acid-free, heavyweight, white paper, suitable for mixed media. So I'm going to swatch them on here, and then also I have this, which is more textured paper, because I think it would be really interesting to see how it looks on this, which is, so it's like cold pressed, this, and it's still watercolour paper. So this is also watercolour paper, but it's a little bit smoother. And I know charcoal likes to have a little bit of tooth, so we'll see. So we're going to start with the dark moss. Oh, yeah, that is a lovely, very lovely muted green. Good name. I'm going to double up here. So because I've put enough water on there, it's working well. Next one is the forest pine. Quite similar, but I can definitely see there is a difference. This feels a little bit more like it's got yellow. This one, a bit more blue, but both very muted. And that's going on lovely on the textured paper. Okay, the next one is driftwood. Oh, that's a lot darker. That seems almost black. Then we've got mountain blue. You wouldn't tell, just looking at these, you wouldn't tell what colour they are. So yes, it's very important to swatch. Wow, that's really nice. Like a Payne's grey with a bit more blue, indigo. And we've got ocean deep. Ooh, that is very nice, very creamy. Again, a bit darker, definitely darker again than the mountain blue. That would be great for deep blues, shadows on maybe the sea. Imagine a stormy sea. And we've got thistle. You can guess from the name, has a little bit of purple in it. So quite a deep, deep purple. And that's the first row. So you can see there is variation. And as it dries a little bit lighter. But yeah, I love these greens. They are really nice, muted, and the blues. So let's do the next. This one is called Glowing Embers. I love that name. Oh yeah, that's a warm colour, isn't it? Beautiful. Burnt Ember. So we've got Glowing Ember and Burnt Ember. So the Burnt Ember is slightly darker. Again, this reminds me of the driftwood when I first put it down. But I can see now that the driftwood is dry. It looks again a bit more greeny. Whereas this definitely has a bit more purple. And that Glowing Ember reminds me of the graphite tint in my other paint pan. Burnt Earth. Again, quite similar to the driftwood, but a bit warmer. We've got Natural, which I'm guessing means it's without a tint. So yeah, that's quite a cool charcoal grey. Then we have Dark, which is dark. Quite similar actually to Ocean Deep, but not with the blue, and also it is darker. Let's see how it looks when it dries. And then the final one, I'm just try and get my brush a bit cleaner because it's picked up quite a bit. Try and do the white, which you may or not see. So there we go, the white. The point of it being included is to maybe mix, blend with the others, so you could get a lighter hue of these colours. You can see that that doesn't really give you the depth that a swatching card does. Okay, I'm going to label this up and then give you a closer look. So here is a closer look. This is on the smoother watercolour paper. I just love that you can see the brush marks quite nicely in there. They're very soft, very muted, but there's still a range, like a really nice range. And here they are on the watercolour, the cold press paper with the wool texture, and they went on really well. Less brush marks. So yeah, I can imagine actually using these for more of a winter scene, and I'm sure actually these would mix well with other colours in the Derwent range. All of these colours will be in the Tinted Charcoal, but then there'll be an extra 12 or so, I think, on top of that, or an extra 10. Anyway, let's take a look at the Tinted Charcoal. Okay, so I'm ready to start swatching the Tinted Charcoal coloured pencils. So let's take a look inside. These are the colours that you get in the paint pan set, and then from sand to green moss, these are the colours that are additional in this set. You also get a light and a medium charcoal, and the dark is also included in that paint pan set. We'll just go from left to right, and I will dry swatch it, and then I will add water. I'm going to use this water brush to add the water to it so that you can see how the water activates the charcoal. Okay, so we're starting with the sand colour. Very pastel looking. So I'll just do a long bar, and then I'll do another bar next to it so that I can compare. Apologies for the sound of scratching if you don't like this sound. So let's get the water flowing. You can see you've got a really nice flow there. And the colour is very similar then to the dry. You know, sometimes with the Inktense pencils, the dry colour is very much different to the activated colour. It's often a lot brighter, but here it's quite similar. The next colour we're doing is burnt orange. This is a colour I see a lot at the moment, particularly on the cliff sides, the bracken, which is turning. There we go. The next colour is called Sunset Pink. That is a beautiful pink, very understated. I love the softness as well of the charcoal, the way it looks so smooth. Not using too much water. Don't want to over dilute it. Onto lavender. See, that has a bit more water. Really, really soft colour. Purple. A little bit like thistle from the charcoal paint pan set. Now we're on to slate. And that is a lot darker. Also feels a lot softer. Okay, elderberry next. Again, very dark. This has undertones of blue. It's very, very similar to the slate. Okay, bilberry. Oh yeah, that is definitely a little bit more blue than the elderberry, fractionally. But you can see it now that it's side by side. Okay, next one, heather mist. This is probably going to be a purple. Wow, that is a gorgeous colour. It's slightly browner than the lavender. Yeah, that's a very beautiful colour. And we have peat. That is very soft. That goes on very smoothly. You can see it's a little bit more crumbly as well. Reminds me of bark in the Inktense range. Then the final one of the new, or the added ones. This is green moss. This one's a little bit harder. Really, really gorgeous colour. Very natural. That would make great colour for moss. Yeah, really soft. Muted green. Okay, let's see. Okay, there we go. So let's now do the rest of the colours. They'll be the same colours that you saw me swatching in the paint pan tint. It would be interesting to see if there are any discrepancies or slight differences because of the medium. So yeah, let's get on and do that. So you have dark moss. Again, very soft. And forest pine. You can really see the greens and blues in it. Imagine that as a sea colour, a moody sea colour. Driftwood, very, very dark and soft. You can see there's a lot more dust. And that almost looks black on there. It depends how much water you put on as well. Could squeeze just a little bit water. Yeah, you can see, you can change the opacity of it. Mountain blue. Another good sea colour. Ocean deep. We have thistle. Interesting, in the pencil you can't really see that purple so well. It kind of comes out a bit more once you put water on. Glowing embers. Burnt embers. That looks very different to the paint pan. Burnt earth. Again, very soft. Add a bit more water to it. Then natural. So I have finished swatching and labelling all of these up, and I'll show you them a close-up now so you can see. So you'll recognise from dark moss all the way down here, these are all the ones that were in the Tinted Charcoal paint pan set. And then also I've got the light, medium, dark, and then these are the new or the additional ones that you get if you go for the larger tin. So it's really nice actually to see the texture along with the water added to the side, so you can see how it reacts. Really nice muted colour range, and I can definitely see how these would be perfect for autumn landscape work. And then I also wanted to show you this piece of paper, which is one of the tone papers from Derwent. It's a light grey. What I've done is I've swatched them dry and then I've just blended them with a cotton bud, just to show you how soft they can look. Again, these colours are great, you can see, for misty landscapes, more muted landscapes. And then at the bottom here I have done some blends. I wanted to show you how you could blend them. Maybe you can just about see the white on this light grey, but I've used the white to blend here. This would definitely show up more on perhaps the darker grey. And I've also swatched them on a thicker watercolour, so this is cold pressed paper, and you can see just the texture coming through. I've got my sketchbook out. I'm just going to have a play on the page. I'm going to try and incorporate the charcoal pencils, the paint pan with some of my more older Derwent drawing pencils and also this line and wash kit, which has got some really lovely autumnal colours. I've also got some Inktense drawing blocks here, which I love using. They remind me of charcoal as well, so they'll be interesting to see if I can bring those in and how they work together. The drawing pencils I've got are a selection of Inktense. I've got Lightfast, Derwent drawing. I've got one watercolour pencil, and then Colour Soft and graphite tint. So there's a whole mix of stuff here. I also have some rubbing alcohol and little cotton buds, a couple of brushes. This is slightly wider flathead brush here, and some older brushes and ones which are a little bit thinner. So I'm just going to have a play. I also have open here in front of me a recent sketchbook spread that I did on location at Cape Cornwall, and I've got it because this is kind of how I like to work. I love using a mix of mediums, and I also just love working seasonally as well. So it is November and we've been on a few walks, and I've seen some really beautiful autumnal colours, so really rich colours like reds and oranges, rusts, and then some really muted greens, and then the sea's been really dark. So I think what I have here will really work. Starting with the sunset pink because it's such a beautiful colour. Really, really beautiful. I can get it really pale by blending it, and work on top of it again, just to add more. Bringing in a Colour Soft, see how that works. Slight resistance. It's a pimento. Try a Derwent drawing. That goes over nicely. And this is Lightfast Autumn Red. Yeah, that goes over very well. I'm going to do another base green. This is going down really well on this paper. It's quite a thick cardstock. Let's see if I bring in a Derwent drawing, a lighter shade. This is Crag, I think it's Crag Green, yeah. Over the top. Oh look, it's blending in quite well. The colour is gorgeous. The Lightfast on the top. Yeah, that works really well. Lightfast is oil based. Love it as well because a slight differentiation, the colour changes. And try Mountain Blue. Makes a lovely sea colour. I'm using it on its side. Gives me that beautiful texture there. And then if I go up, turn it on its, I get a different line. You can see though, you could easily create sea impressions. Let's see though if I add water. It's a beautiful blue-grey that. Let's see what happens when I add water up here. It's quite a dry brush, this. Just gently going across. Oh yeah, that could work really well for sea. So I'm putting down wheat drawing, Derwent drawing. So Derwent drawing is wax based. So I want to see how this reacts with this going over the top. Yeah, so it's resisting. I thought it would. It's quite a nice effect though. I could also blend that. Maybe work on top, so I've got Mars Violet here. So that goes over, slight resist, but it means that you get different textures. Let's try adding green to this. That's nice. Just use the forest pine in the paint pan. I'm just going to do a few little blobs and come back to it when it's dry. Thinking of just trees. See that? Make it just a great tree on a hill. I do like the sand, so let's... Glowing embers. I'm going to add alcohol. That's pretty nice, the way it's blended them and got a little bit of texture on them. Kind of thinking of beaches with big boulders or a stone wall, something like that. That would work for that. Favourite one in this is this colour here. But look at it, it's just gorgeous. Another love is this Derwent Intense Block. You can put it on dry or you can add water to it. Just going to let those dry. That's gorgeous, isn't it? Because it's slightly wet, this is going down really well. Slides along. Derwent Drawing. This is ruby red. No, ruby earth. Pimento. So I see a lot of little houses and cottages, so it'd be nice to do a little house. I'm going to use the charcoal just to give me the outside edge. This is Derwent Drawing again. Solway blue and warm grey. I'm going to do the roof. I'm going to put the white. Look at that blending with the charcoal. That's really cool. Do some charcoal. See, it won't, it's resisting. It's become a little hut. But look how lovely and soft that is. Just go over the bottom. Now, let's see what happens if I add some alcohol to the top. Oh yeah, that makes such a soft autumnal finish. That looks like autumn there, where it goes really hazy. It was definitely like that on a walk we went on recently, really hazy. I'll push that back a bit. Such a cute little house there. Okay, let's try a shoreline. I want to imagine I'm doing the shoreline, so perhaps natural watercolour and paint pan. Using chocolate and the Intense Block iron blue, indigo, oh nice, oh yeah, have that over the Intense block. I wonder what that's like here. I love how I can mix a new shade with adding the charcoal and then adding light, fast or Derwent drawing over the top. You can like just adjust the shade, so you can see if you wanted to get more of a harmonious colour palette, you could do quite simply by using one of them. Particularly good for, you know, wanting to get very subtle shades. That's beautiful colour. That was mixing the sand of the charcoal pencil and then this Intense block and then put some rubbing alcohol on it. Very nice. I'm finding similar shades to other mediums that you're using, because then it can just add depth, it can add just different texture and interest, different marks as well, how you hold it. Blue-grey. Oh yeah, that is so lovely. There we go. Hopefully you've got some more ideas as to how you could use these mediums. Really just encourage you to have a play. Don't worry about the end result. And yeah, it's really exciting actually to work with something in a different way, or something you're really familiar with, but you discover a different way of working with them. So the final section, I'm going to work on some more complete sketches inspired by a walk that I've been on. So stick around if you want to see me create those. I'm really excited to actually do this spread. What I've done is I'm working in a slightly bigger sketchbook. I've marked out the pages with panels, frames, just using an outliner. And in front of me I have all of my materials, which you can see. I also have that sketchbook spread with the textures to remind me, and I've also printed out some of the images that I hope to be using just on really cheap printer paper. I mean, the photos don't look great, but they give me an idea of what I want to capture. I also have the colour charts of the charcoal stuff and my other sketchbooks as well. Normally when I'm sketching in my sketchbook, it is normally outside with the landscape in front of me. I find it a lot easier to then be a lot freer in my marks, so I'm going to try and be loose and free when I'm doing this as well. So I probably will dart around, but yeah, I hope you enjoy just watching me create. I might narrate some of it, but I may also just get into the zone, and in that way I just hope you enjoy and can see what I'm doing. If you have any questions, just let me know. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Just getting that colour down. When I sketch, I normally am looking for the big shapes first of all, and then start with that and then build in layers. Usually do start with a water-based medium, so it's quite nice to work in a slightly different way. But I'm still using a similar method in my mind. So looking at the shapes first. I love how these wax do provide the resist. It might be good to do some waxy foliage here. Some lovely textures there, cool, created by the alcohol. Love using a pop of different colour, brighter, unexpected. What about that? Oh yeah, fern. This is a fern, and it is so bright, but it's great for, you know, that bright green moss that you get. And particularly shows up with that red orange. I also love how you can glaze almost with these as well. Just going over the top. It's quite a painterly effect. Got a really light background, moss green, and then going over the top, crag green. Very soft. some windows. So here is the finished spread. I'm really happy with it. I love how it kind of feels really tied together. That's, I think, down to the autumnal colour palette, and I've tried to keep it simple. Although there are a lot of different colours, I've used different shades of them, which I think helps tie this together. I also love seeing all the different textures that have been created through using all of these different medias. That's the thing I love about using mixed media, is the texture that you can get. Really nice brush strokes here, and then more crayon textures. Almost looks very painterly here with the use of the rubbing alcohol on top. And then this really, really muted colour palette, very much like a pastel-y finish. And then you can also get details and texture. It's really nice to be able to use a range of materials and push them to see how they can be used. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Have you ever used these charcoal pencils or paint pan sets? I would love to hear any techniques that you've also picked up along the way. Let me know if you have watched the end by commenting autumn textures. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I will speak to you again soon.